This happened about 5 years ago when I was a freshman in college. I had 45 minutes between classes, so I stopped by the dining hall for a quick lunch. I had nothing with me except my student ID and phone, and was plugged in listening to an audiobook for class. The hall wasn't overly crowded, but not empty either. Probably 75% of the tables were taken. I loaded a tray with food, and, as all the 2-person tables were taken, sat my tray down at an empty 4-seater. Then I went to go get a drink. When I came back, not 30 seconds later, there were people sitting at my table. They had taken all 4 chairs and my tray of food had kind of been pushed to one edge. I did not know these people and the whole thing was a bit bizarre. There was another empty 4-person table just like it 2 tables over, so I saw no reason that they would feel the need to take this one that already had a tray of food on it. Not to mention I had never heard of anything like this happening before. The school was relatively small and most students were open friendly people. So, I could have picked my tray of food up and found another table, or confronted them and asked what the hell, but I had had a hectic day, I was starving, and only had 10 minutes to eat my food before I needed to walk back to my studio. Long story short, I was in no mood for this, so I simply pulled up an extra chair at the end and started to eat my lunch. They all sort of gave me odd looks and I just smiled and continued to listen to my book and eat. I finished in about 5-8 minutes, all the while them sitting in AWK silence. Then I got up to put my tray away and went on my merry way. I never saw those people again. Actually my partner's story, but she doesn't have Reddit, so I'm posting on her behalf. Enjoy her pettiness. I work overnight shifts and buy myself Milo cereal, 8 Findler reducer box, for when I forget to bring myself food and can't afford to go buy anything in the middle of the night. At work we've got to put a sticker and our name on crap to claim it, so that was all G, and I left my cereal with all the other cereal. I started getting confused because a box of this would last me like a month, but recently I was buying 2 boxes in a fortnight, and I'm like, this ain't right, and I realized someone had been eating my poor person lunch. I put a sticker over the seal saying not yours and someone wrote back on it, after ripping it open, hide it better. Hide what better, ya dumb F? Everyone else's stuff doesn't get touched, so no, I'm not hiding it better. Instead, I put another sticker on it and wrote fair call and poured about 3 to 5 tablespoons of salt in the remainder of the box. This is a friendly reminder to anyone who knows me just how petty I can be. I'm still impatiently waiting to get another note back telling me to go F myself. For my husband's birthday I got him a waterproof speaker for the shower as a fun side gift, but he now uses it solely to annoy me. Almost every time I take a shower, he connects his phone and starts blasting awful songs that he knows will get stuck in my head for the rest of the day. His personal favorite is Baby Shark. One day we were driving somewhere, but had to drive separately as we would be parting ways after. Unfortunately for him though, we got stuck in some nasty stop and go traffic, and I was right behind him. I then remembered that I have my phone connected to his car speaker Bluetooth, so I whip out my phone. Like I said, we weren't constantly moving and got stuck at many stoplights. Prepare the song that had been swelling in my head since that morning and forced disconnect his phone to link mine. I watch in his rear view mirror as the wonderful tune of Baby Shark blasts through his speakers and I can see his face yelling no. He managed to get it off pretty quickly, but for the rest of the drive anytime we came to a stop I would resume my tirade of Baby Shark. We got to our destination and had a pretty good laugh about it, but now our home is in an all-out speaker war. However, I will always remember my glorious win on that day. About 8 years ago I moved my accounts from one bank to another because the first bank was being a dick to me. They really pissed me off. I accidentally overpaid my Visa with them by $2. They sent me a statement for -$2 and I phoned them to tell them they could either send me a check or just close the account. I didn't care about the money. They insisted that they couldn't do this over the phone, that I had to come in person to a branch to get this settled. I had sworn to never set foot in their bank again, so I said fine. They continued to send me a paper statement every month, at their cost, for this -$2. I smile every time at how they are spending at least 50 cents a month on me and toss it in the recycling. They tried to switch me to electronic statements at one point, but I insisted on paper, as is my right. 8 years of statements at about 50 cents a statement. I'm assuming they get a slight deal on postage for volume, and I've cost them $48 just because they wouldn't cancel out $2 over the phone. And there's no sign that they are going to stop. It's just a little thing that brightens my day once a month now. Apparently our neighbor's boys are getting in the spirit of Halloween. Our doorbell rang this evening. When we opened the door, no one was there. A few minutes later it rang again. Again, no one. But we did notice some kids hiding behind our car. These boys are pretty young, approximately 8 and 5 years of age. We acknowledged that we saw them and thought that would be the end of it. They rang the doorbell again. At this point, I was mildly annoyed. When we opened the door they yelled, "You aren't falling for our prank." We told them that we weren't going to, and they should go home. Then they rang the doorbell again. We didn't answer, but I figured they wouldn't let it go. I found a spot to watch them and waited until they were next to our car on the way to the door and set off the alarm via the panic button. They jumped back and dropped the stick they had in their hands to ring the doorbell from a distance and turned and ran away. It was pretty entertaining to watch them scramble. A moment later we heard one of their parents yelling at them. Apparently the boys had somehow set off the alarm. No more doorbells. This happened a few months ago, and while I wanted to post it somewhere, I didn't actually find the right sub until I thought of this one. Hopefully you get a good laugh out of it. I was driving back from work the other day, and I had to make a right turn from a stop sign onto a busy highway. The background here is that I drive an old Jeep, which is by no means quick enough to accelerate into a risky turn. So, picture me, stopped at this stop sign. A white Mercedes pulls up behind me with a younger driver. I think nothing of it, but then there's a decent gap in traffic. I could have gone, but we were sitting on a gravel road and I knew I wouldn't get enough traction to make it. So I wait. This really pisses off the Merceds driver, who starts honking at me and shouts obscenities out of his window. That did me in. So, I waited for the next decent gap, and then I floored it. Remember when I said we were on a gravel road, muddy from the rain? As soon as I stepped on it, my rear tires started spinning, and absolutely coated the front of this Mercedes with mud, rocks, and water. I have never seen a person so mad in my entire life. He cut into traffic to chase me and gave me all sorts of gestures and curses. I just laughed, gave him the bird, and went about my way. 7 PM last night and my neighbor decides he's going to get out his backpack leaf blower and work on the leaves in his yard. It's dark. It had been drizzling earlier. WTF is he working on trying to blow wet leaves around? I was starting to get a little annoyed because I was trying to enjoy dinner while watching TV. That was until I heard a knock on my door. It was my neighbor asking me to move my car out of the street into the driveway for a minute, and in return he would blow all of the leaves off my front lawn for me. This is when he tells me that his stepson was supposed to hand rake their leaves earlier that day before he left for work. Guess the kid mouthed off again. He makes the kid do yard work when he's in trouble. My neighbor gets home and sees that the leaves aren't done. Pissed, he grabs his leaf blower and proceeds to blow all the leaves from the yard into the street in the spot where his stepson parks his car in front of the house. He realizes that he doesn't have enough leaves. However, the tree in my front yard decided to carpet my front lawn with leaves that day. This is when he knocks on my door. He got rid of the leaves on my front lawn and the leaves on my other neighbor's front lawn and added them to the pile on the street. He then had me move my car back into its original spot, which was on one end of the leaf pile, and parked his work truck on the other end of the leaf pile. Also his stepson would have to park down the block and do a walk of shame home. Eater, pick of the pettiness. It's been raining all day, so this is the first chance I've gotten to get a pic. The pile was more impressive last night. Now it's just waterlogged https imga.com1e5fcas.jpg. Eater numero dos. To address some of the comments in bulk, instead of individually, #1. The pile looked a lot bigger during the time of inconvenience, which was last night. Aerated leaves plus the heavier rain we got before I was able to take a pic equals condensed soggy leaf mess that I could probably park over. #B we are on the schedule for our fall leaf pickup. Our township tells us to either bag the leaves or blow them out to the curb point. They come around with a truck with a leaf vacuum attached and collect the leaves a few times in the next 2 months. Thank you for watching. Slap that like button and comment your opinion on these stories below. I'm waiting. Write that comment. Seriously. Have you written it yet? If you don't comment, you make a bunny cry somewhere. You're not that kind of person. I know. Anyways, peace out and catch you tomorrow.